Hey friends, today we come to the last of this message series on the 7 deadly sins, and today we will be looking at the sin of lust. Now we're called to live holy and pure lives. Our calling is to be set apart and to be different, as the Apostle Paul says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 7, "For God has not called us for impurity, but in holiness." Now it is difficult to live a holy life considering the culture around us. We live in a highly sexualized and illicit culture. Impurity is everywhere. We see it on television. We see it in the movies. We see it in best-selling books. Access to pornography is easier than ever before, and children are being exposed to it at a younger and younger age. In 2 Samuel chapter 11, verses 1 through 27, we learn about King David, and we learn as we strive against this sin of lust, how to live pure lives. We learn from David's mistakes. In the story, David is staying behind in the palace while his men are going off to war. He should have been with his men, but he was not. And this is the first problem. David left himself in a compromising position. If we are to live pure lives, it's important for us to avoid those compromising positions. And it starts with the choices we make about what we watch, about what we read. It starts with what we visit on the internet and setting boundaries in regards to those of the other sex. Now, the second thing that happens with David, he sees this beautiful woman. And rather than turning away, he inquires as to who she is. Because all of the fighting men are away, David had no one to tell him that this was a dumb idea. In other words, David had no one to hold him accountable. If living pure is a struggle for you, then building accountability is an important thing that you can do. Do you have a filter on your computer to avoid certain sites on the internet? Do you have others who you can openly talk with about this? Many of us, we fight and we struggle in this battle alone, but this is not a battle that we can fight alone. If we could win this battle on our own, we would have already done so. A third thing, David was king and he thought he was bigger than all of this. But this adulterous affair would be his undoing. His family would suffer greatly as a result. David would see a daughter raped and sons murdered, and all stemmed from this momentary indiscretion. I'm sure if David had to do it all over again, he would have run from this as far as he possibly could have. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, it says, "Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body." Now, this verse does not say just avoid sexual immorality. It says flee from it. Run as far as you can. Don't think that this will not happen to you. Many marriages and ministries have been ruined because of individuals who thought they were bigger than it. And when we run, God gives us a place to run. We run to Jesus. God created us with a need for Him, and Jesus is the only thing that will fulfill that need. We try to find fulfillment in so many other things. David had everything as king, but it still was not enough for him. He hoped to find in Bathsheba what was missing, but he discovered that it still was not enough, and actually it brought more problems than what it was worth. What he actually found was that other things in life may be satisfying for a short time, but in the end, we are left with more misery. It is only in Jesus that we find complete fulfillment. He completely fulfills what is empty inside. Overcoming impurity is not a matter of willpower, but a matter of God's power at work in you. Hey friends, have a great day, and we will see you next week.